Jayne Mansfield busted out as a major star in the mid-1950s as the natural heir of Marilyn Monroe.
She exaggerated everything that Marilyn Monroe was. The hair was blonder, the lips were more exaggerated. She really knew how to work her curves.
One of the things, unfortunately, that she's remembered for is the way that she died.
A flaming, grinding car crash ended the bright movie career of famed Jayne Mansfield on June 29, 1967.
Mansfield died shortly after her 34th birthday, and her gruesome death gave birth to an enduring Hollywood legend.
The rumor is, and always has been, that she was decapitated.
But is the grisly legend true? Jayne Mansfield earned critical acclaim with films like The Girl Can't Help It and Wayward Bus.
She actually won a Golden Globe Award. She's just a lot of fun to watch on camera.
By the mid-1960s, the demand for blonde bombshells had waned. So after 10 years and twice as many films, Mansfield was relegated to B-movies that generated more publicity than praise.
She staged a lot of publicity stunts. There's that famous image of Sophia Loren looking at her breasts, which are clearly coming right out of her dress. And it seemed that she was always having fun with her bombshell image.
Like Marilyn, Jayne Mansfield was no dumb blonde.
But unlike Marilyn, Mansfield was also devoted to another role, the mother of 5 children. Her daughter, Mariska, by second husband Mickey Hargitay, would follow in her mother's footsteps, becoming an Emmy-winning actress.
She was a pinup and a mother at the same time. She was able to handle both roles really well.
Though her film career fizzled, Mansfield worked constantly as a cabaret star.
She was one of the first Hollywood stars to go to Las Vegas and make $35,000 per week.
But constant touring took a toll.
Her drinking had escalated and, she was headed for something bad.
Something bad finally caught up with Mansfield on a deserted stretch of Louisiana highway in the early morning of June 29, 1967. After a gig at a club in Biloxi, Mississippi, Mansfield, her boyfriend Sam Brody, 3 of her children, and their driver piled into a '66 Buick Electra and headed to a TV interview in New Orleans.
Unfortunately, there was so much thickness to the fog that they were unable to see a slow-moving truck that was directly in front of them.
They plowed into the back of the tractor-trailer doing about 80 miles an hour.
Mansfield, Brody, and the driver were all killed instantly.
The children were laying down across the back seat asleep, and they were spared.
But is the legend true? Was Jayne Mansfield's head torn from her shoulders in that horrific crash?
Not true. Simply not true.
She wasn't decapitated.
So how did such a shocking legend get started? Author Robert Graysmith was working for a small-town newspaper at the time.
Very early on, we get this photograph, and you can see the front of the car, and there's something white on it, like it's a wig or cotton candy or something. And we get the jangling bell on the AP machine, clang, 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 and it comes across, don't use that picture. That cotton candy on the hood is Jayne's head.
That spurred the myth because on the front page of all the newspapers, it was stated Jayne Mansfield decapitated.
Her wig was lost and maybe part of her scalp, but it wasn't a decapitation like some people think.
The story has haunted Mansfield's family for decades, and even today, 40 years after the accident, her children are reluctant to discuss it.
The stars have become kind of legends in our lives. And we forget that they're people. They have husbands, wives, children, and that what we blithely discuss or joke about is a source of real pain and anguish to those people. People sort of want to believe the more colorful, if that's the word for something so grisly, the more colorful story.